Hit it again.
No. This is not NBC.
It's what?
This is the Black Star Still Rising. Guess what program this is on? This is for Channel 21.
Can TV.
Can TV, you right on target with this.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I am your host and producer. This is Stephen L. Carter, better known as the Black Butterfly, and I got this exciting guest that backed by popular demand. Dr. Michael Washington, PharmD. It's going to be an exciting program today, and I want you to start taking notes about some things. Get your pencil and paper out. Be prepared to take some notes, some phone numbers, some addresses, email, websites, etc. that you're going to want information for. But I have to tell you this.
What's that?
I got to do this because it's so important that how this came about is because of the executive director of CanTV, and that's Mr. Darius Hillman, who has brought organizations and programs like this Black Star, Still Rising, to the public, to know about things that the community is important, that's important to the communities. And what makes it happen is our studio producers, and that's Imani Payne and Rocio Santos, who make this possible. What makes it possible for me is the late founder of the Black Star Project, and that's Mr. Philip Jackson. And his successor, his little sister, Gloria Smith, who is the executive director of the Black Star Project. Without much further ado, and we had a great staff down the Black Star Project. They're not here today, but you're going to find out some information. I'm going to give you that a little later on. That's why I want you to write this information down. Be prepared.
Viva Voce? What is that?
Viva Voce. Pass it on. Oh, you remember that?
Viva Voce.
Viva Voce. Pass it on.
Pass it on.
Pass it on. Pass it. But just this quick thing about Dr. Michael. He's going to be talking about dementia, Alzheimer's, the differences, and he's got a special award that he's been certified as. Dr. Mike, tell us about your recent certification and what that brings you to another level of being an advocate. You're an advocate for many of the things we're going to talk about, dementia and Alzheimer's.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's good to be back on the show. Good to see you.
Good to have
it's been
you
a while.
Yes.
We got some new tables and we got new setup. Everything is looking good.
They just know that we're looking good, right?
Hey. Well, it's good to be here. It's good to be here. Yeah, last time when we talked, we were talking about just dementia and being a caregiver, dealing with, mom at home and my mother-in-law.
But we're gonna hold that back a bit.
Yeah.
And because that's fully about this, because we haven't talked about the implications of caregivers and the problems, financial, etc. You're going to get into that a little bit more.
Yes.
You can give us some numbers for folks to follow up on. But I do want to hear about how you transition from dementia and with your mom, and how you have progressed over these other things we're going to talk about. You've got to be aware of this. Dr. Mike.
Well, yeah, let me just first of all give credit to Pastor Jordan and Michelle from the Dementia. They've been doing this for many years, and as well as Dr. Jennifer Stelter, who actually created the program. It's called Dementia Connection Institute, which allows caregivers to become more engrossed in understanding what you're looking at, because the concept of dementia is so broad and so complex. You have to really have a good understanding of the concepts of what you're looking at when you're trying to deal with it.
You didn't know a thing about it before things hit you about with your mother's behavior, but continue on it so they can start to get a feel. If you're seeing some of the signs that Dr. Mike is going to be telling you about.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let's talk about dementia, because a lot of people think dementia and Alzheimer's are the same.
Okay.
And that's not correct. Dementia is like the umbrella, which means all the types of dementia fall under there. Just as a person who has cancer, if I asked you, what do you have cancer, you're going to ask me
bladder, what up? Yes.
So that's like the umbrella. So also dementia is like the umbrella, and then Alzheimer's, vascular dementia, Lewy body, frontal lobal, and then you can have a mixture of those two. But we're not going to go into each one specifically.
But we're going to give you more information how to find out about it. Okay.
Yeah. And so this is, I want to give you guys on YouTube, once again, we're talking about informing you, letting you become more knowledgeable, because that's what the average person doesn't feel that they have. Not only the capacity to care for their loved ones, but knowing how to do that.
They feeling overwhelmed too, because
It's
I know
completely
you had
overwhelmed.
some of those things when it first started to hit you.
That's the first thing, because you don't know what you're looking at. And that, when you're dealing with someone's brain, that's super duper. It's not like you broke your leg where you can go on and say, oh, well, everything that we do for our leg is this A, B, C, D, E. With dementia, it varies by individual. Everybody's different. So you can't just one topic fits everything. You have to learn. And like I said, I want to share two things first. This is called Psych. Vive Voce.
Write this down. Okay.
This is on YouTube. It's called PSYCH. Explained. 2 words. Psych Explained. And that doctor, his name is Dr. Kushner. Kushner. Again, Kushner. Dr. Kushner, Psych Explained. And what he explains in very, very thorough detail is the limbic system. And the limbic system is what you deal with when you're dealing with people with dementia. It explains the parts of the brain, which I'm not going to go into because I want you to go on YouTube.
You don't want that detail right now. You want to give them
Right.
a way
I want
to
you,
get into this.
yeah,
Okay.
because then you get a chance to take your time and look at it. I've looked at it several times, and it's very, very thorough and explains the parts of the brain that are affected and what each part does. And so once you understand, once again, the concept, it will help you deal with the loved one that has whatever type of dementia they have.
But then we get into how it's going to affect you, the caretaker, and other people who have this responsibility just kind of shoved on them all at once when they realize there's something going on with the family member, with the loved one.
Yeah. Well, normally what you first see in any kind of dementia is loss of short-term memory.
Okay.
You know, things that they normally have, you know, like where things are, misplacing keys, not just general things that we all do
Yes.
as we mature.
Right.
You know,
what
I've
did I go to the refrigerator to get out?
Right. Well, why did I go downstairs?
Right.
Not those
gotta
things.
retrace my
Not those
steps,
things.
right?
We're talking about
Okay.
things like not being able to balance your checkbook, not paying your bills, forgetting to pay your bills.
Remembering passwords?
Password. Well, I won't even say that
You won't.
because we got so
All
many
of us
passwords.
do that.
But we're talking about things that your activities of daily living.
Yes.
You know, forgetting to brush your teeth,
Oh boy.
forgetting to shower.
Ooh, that's a bad sign.
Yeah. You know, not knowing, you know, you put something on the stove and forget you left it on the stove.
Got to turn that gas off.
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
So those are the things that you initially see with any type of dementia. And then, like I said, it's important too that when you're dealing with, when you begin to see those things as the caregiver, that you might want to get involved and get a geriatric doctor instead of a primary care doctor who just deals
Listen
in
to this,
general.
what he's telling you.
That's what
Geriatric will be fine.
I noticed that the doctor that my mom had, who was a great doctor, she had him for a long time. But when she first fell and I began to see these symptoms, I went, you know, naturally to him. And he was like, well, you know, your mom is getting older and, you know, these things can happen. And I was like, that doesn't sound sufficient to me. And so I was talked to some other people and they recommended that I switch my mom from a primary care physician over to a geriatric doctor who specializes in that, who's also connected with the neurologist who evaluates them and determines what type of dementia they have. So that's very, very crucial.
Let me hit a crucial point too. Taking over responsibilities, power of attorney. Just a touch on that because that can be a very sensitive thing, especially if you have brothers, sisters, siblings, aunts, uncles who have some vested interest in a way.
Well,
but somebody has to take the lead on it. And how you do that?
Well, that's one of the difficult things. Now, me personally, I'm an only child.
Okay.
But I know people who had to have brothers and sisters. So all you'll have to come together and determine who is going to be the power of attorney, for medical as well as the financial ability when they can't make decisions for themselves. So that's very difficult because you always, from what I know, you always got that one person who mama or daddy trusted more than the other people. And then the other people are like, well, why didn't they pick me? Well, they didn't pick you. And it's important that you have that discussion with your loved one while they're still able to make those decisions before they become impaired. Because
and what were some of the things that led you to that transition, that turned from your mom turning over things to you? Was that a difficult thing for you to do and to do with her?
Yeah, because we got to realize my mom, none of this happened until she was 79 years old. So she's been taking care of her business, paying her bills, doing all these things on her own. And then for me to have to say, okay, well, you have fallen and now you have some injury to your brain and you can't make these decisions on your own. A lot of times that's very difficult. And we call it denial. And people don't want to accept, that they have something going on. But your job, that's the person you love, is to see that and do the best thing for them, even though they can't make those decisions on their own. But you have to get that power of attorney when you begin to see that early in the game.
Can we almost make a commercial of this to give out the phone numbers? I want you folks to write this down because we can't give it all to you today. Mm-hmm. There'll be other times for Dr. Mike to come back. Yeah. But we want to whet your appetite but get into some depth too. What numbers should they be calling for whatever?
Okay.
What is the new certification that you got? What is it called again?
Dementia Connection Specialist.
Dementia Connection Specialist. And you had to be certified. You took a course.
Yes.
And you are at another level in terms of both your understanding and information to pass on.
It just added depth to caregiving.
Yes.
Because it was very superficial. It was as I was going on, and these people have been doing this, and I can tell you that it was a great class to take. It was 2 days, 6 hours each day that I went through, and then you have to take the test. So I learned a lot, and like I said, I thank Pastor Jordan and Michelle and Jennifer for providing that opportunity.
And I got to tell you, you got your ability from being part of the Divine 9, Xavier University, and
Louisiana.
That's where you got your PharmD,
yes,
and where so many of our leaders have come from, the Divine 9 schools. I'm talking about
See, you can't help it. You can't help it. Look at your T-shirt. Look at your T-shirt. Yeah. He can't help it, y'all. He can't help
That's
it.
Right. Yeah.
He can't help it.
That I meant the
that's
HBCUs.
Okay. Hey, that's what I was gonna let you work it out. I was gonna let you work that out.
All right, give us those phone numbers before I get myself in deeper trouble.
Okay, so a couple things we want to deal with from Illinois, because that's what we're dealing with mostly. The Illinois Department of Aging.
Okay.
That number is 1-800-252-8966.
Repeat it once more for those slow people, slow writers.
Yeah, the Illinois Department of Aging. That's 1-800-252-8966. Then you have the Alzheimer's Association, which is very, very good. And you can call them at 1-800-272-3900. Again, that's 1-800-272-3900. Now, I've been calling them, you can call them 24/7. They have counselors that have degrees in psychology and understanding and help you, whatever you're dealing with, whatever the problem is, you can call them anytime. They normally take about an hour, maybe to call you back, because it's one person that works that shift, the late shift. But they will call you back. They will call you back, and
they won't leave you hanging.
No, I promise you. I've called them over 40 times since I've been a caregiver for my mom.
So you like a freaking flyer miles, huh?
Hey, they
they know you by name.
They know me when I call.
Dr. Mike called.
I know them.
Dr. Mike's on the phone.
Myra and all those people. I can't think of everybody's name, but they call me Dr. Sherbert because that's what I used to give my mom when she would get upset and she would get what's called in the loop.
Rainbow sherbet, pineapple.
Rainbow sherbet. For some reason, that would calm her. That would calm her down. And so they used to call me the Rainbow Sherbet.
Are you going to pass over to me? I have a couple of announcements to make from the Black Star Project. Can I make those announcements?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's get all that good information.
We shared some of that with you. And the time is passing. Now is the time to get involved with some of the program and legacies that Philip Jackson has left the executive director, Gloria Smith, with. And we're going to tell you about the programs and when they're available and when they're about to start. First of all, Kimberly Lightfoot Saturday University. Okay? That will be on Saturdays from starting September 27th. That's fall
coming
term.
up.
Fall.
Yeah.
From October 4th through December 14th. That'll be held from 10 to 1 o'clock at the Maywood Park District Lightfoot Rec Center in Maywood. So keep that in mind.
Okay. What's that again? The Maywood Park District?
Maywood Park District. You know how to prompt me too. And there's the phone number too. You forgot to tell me about the phone number. 773-285-9600. If you call there, somebody's going to respond to you too. That's at the Black Star Project office. Next, I want to talk about the Young Black Men of Honor program. That's going to be starting September 30th through December 9th. 6 to 7:30 p.m. Dinner is going to be provided for that. I know you want some information about that. This is for boys and young men ages 8 to 18. That's an exciting program because of the things that they do, learn, etc. So keep that in mind. Same phone number, 773, what does that say?
285-9600. I attended that event last year when they got honored.
Wasn't it exciting?
It was a nice time.
You could tell by the reception of the students involved with that.
I was just taken, surprised at the amount of interaction that actually occurred between the guides and the leaders of that program with the young people, and all their families were there. It was a big turnout, and even dads and stuff came, not just moms.
Philip Jackson left a legacy that Gloria Smith is continuing, and the outstanding staff that they've had to maintain and run these programs. Yeah. Next one I'm going to talk about is the Philip Jackson Youth Program. That's going to be Fridays starting October 3rd through December also. This is the fall going into winter programs. And that's going to be from 5:30 to 7 p.m. The number again for more information and deeper information, 773, what is that again?
285-9600.
You better write that down. That's for the Black Star.
So all these programs are at the Black Star?
Right at, guess what? 35th and King Drive, better known as that
Philip Jackson.
Philip Jackson Parkway.
Yeah.
Man, I indoctrinated you well. I'm glad you remember.
And remember, Joe, yesterday I found out that 31st Street was also Sammy Davis Junior Drive.
I could have told you that. You should have asked.
Hey, you learn something every day, bro.
Just ask me. I would have had that at the tip of my tongue. Then, the Philip Jackson Freedom School. This is open for students kindergarten through 8th grade. See the gamut. We go from kindergarten to 8th grade, from 8 to 18. We can engage the entire family with something that's going to be beneficial to them and to the community. This is a program that's going to build and make you aware of community, culture, civic engagement, community engagement. This is going to be starting the October 4th.
Same day.
Same day, 12 to December 13th. Same thing, location 3509. South Martin Luther King Drive, Philip Jackson Parkway. Keep that in mind and make sure you pass this information. What we call it again?
Viva Voce.
Viva Voce. Pass it on. Now, Dr. Mike, get back into some of the things that folks don't talk about in terms of the caregivers. Because if it were not for the caregivers, most folks would get lost in the project. So tell us a little bit about the financial and other things that become your province or became your province.
Yeah, let me give you some numbers because the numbers don't lie. 5.8 million people right now are suffering with dementia of some sort. And that number is scheduled to double by 2030.
Double.
Right. So 46% of people are going to be caregivers. So that's half of our population because we're living longer, and therefore as you get older, dementia can happen early, but more 65 and over.
Does that have some implications for our elected officials who set budgets and put money aside. Is that something that our audience needs to be addressing with their congressional and local leaders too, elected officials?
Yeah. Well, there was an act that was passed. It's called the Secure 2.0 Act in 2022,
Okay.
which encourages businesses as well as employees to contribute more because they realize that most people, 57% of people that are caregivers are not financially stable. And
50, what percent?
57%.
57. That's a
Caregivers have not sought out. You need professional help to help you work your finances because you get consumed in your loved ones and you begin not to take care of yourself. And that's just what happens to most caregivers. So 57% caregivers have not sought out professional help in terms of their finances.
What were some of the things that you got caught off guard? Is financials maybe one, and the implication? What were you caught off guard about?
Just I think as a whole, you know, when you dealing with somebody who all of a sudden they're normal and then something happens to them, whether it's lack of oxygen or something, they fall or something goes on, you're not ready for that. You can't expect that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have the tools. You know, like I say, if you want to fix something, you got to have the tools, and you don't have the tools. Just when this happens all of a sudden, because that person could be well, and Alzheimer's, it's a gradual decline.
What's the most valuable experience that you can pass on from your experience when your mother started having the symptoms to where she is now? And talk about finding a place where she can, or your loved ones, can be treated and engage with you and you with them.
That's a very good point. When you begin to see signs and symptoms of some kind of decline, eventually you might need to place your loved one in an assisted living facility or even a long-term care facility, depending on the nature of their decline.
Financial implications there too, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, when you move to those places, you have to begin to look for a place early, because you can't wait until it's time for them to move to start looking, because you have to put your name on the list. There's a long waiting list of facilities. They only have so many spots available at these facilities. So once you get your financial stuff together, you know, the care, medical, as well as the powerful of attorney for their finances, you also want to begin to start looking at assisted living places as well as long-term, depending on the needs of your particular loved one.
What happens when you make a visit to one of those places? What do you look for? I think one of it's the smell test, was right.
Well, that's the first thing. You know, when you walk into the place, you want to make sure you don't smell anything
Go on, tell it
but
like it
freshness.
is. Okay. You want to say doesn't smell like urine?
Well, that's
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
you don't want to smell any urine. You want to look at the residents and talk to them. You know, that's what I did. I talked to the residents. How are you feeling? Because, of course, the facility is going to try to sell themselves. It's like when you go buy a car. You know, salesman's got everything positive to tell you to get you to buy that car. They want you to move. But you got to talk to the patients and see what and how they feel, how they look.
Once you're in there, what do you have to do to sustain that kind of attention that the staff,
Just let them know that you're going to be there. And you have to check in with them on a regular basis.
Okay.
Because otherwise, you know, once they know you there, then that's going to increase the level of care that your loved one will going to get.
Give us some ending things. You want to leave our audience with a few things, including some phone numbers, but tell them.
Well, let me just say
critical
this
things. Yes.
real quick. The focus on trying to make gains and not just the gap that you feel when you're overwhelmed with this. You know, take pride in the little things that you can do, the time you can spend with them, the information that they have from their long-term memory. That helps with your legacy of your family. Because their short-term memory, they can't recall that, but all that long-term memory of back when they were kids and where they lived and their families that you might not have had a chance to get.
And they didn't want to pass on at that particular time.
That information that comes out because the long-term memory is trying to compensate for the short-term memory that's not working properly.
Give a couple of phone numbers that our listeners, our viewers should be.
Again, the
aware of.
Alzheimer's Association number, 1-800-272.
272.
3900. Please call them. They have excellent information. They have links, and it's good. Like I said, I've called them over 40 times.
And you said 24/7.
24/7.
Call them.
Yeah. All right.
Mike, what do you think, Dr. Mike, what do you think you want to address next time? Because we're running out of time, but I know we'll have you back.
We're just gonna keep it moving, man, and just as a caregiver, you take it one day at a time and do the best you can, and that's all we can do. And then we're gonna do the best we can next time when we talk.
Well, you've been an excellent guest. You bring more valuable information, very practical information to our viewers. I hope you take advantage of that, but also the programs we talked about for the Black Star Project that is sponsored.
Yeah, please sign up though. Those things are free, right?
Yes, they're free.
Everything is our favorite word, free.
Free. That four-letter word.
Give them a call.
Next to
They'll
love,
answer
right?
the phone, just like the Alzheimer's Association. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Brother Mike,
Always. Love.
thank you for being with us.
Love. GGTP.
All right. What does that stand for again?
Give God the praise.
Okay. We can do that.